to have our test on Monday. 20 questions. Okay. Justice, I'll just send it to you and you'll take it during class. If you could join me on Zoom, that'd be wonderful. And I'll send you like a PDF. You could do a couple different things on that test. You could write it down on a piece of paper. Hey, let me make sure I get this. Make sure he gets this. You write down on a piece of paper, or you can. A couple times in the past, people have actually just put the test into Cami and then bubbled in the stuff as they went along. That is totally fine. Whatever you decide to do, just as long as you send that to me pretty close to a couple minutes after you're done with the test or by the end of class. Okay, so 20 multiple choice questions. Okay, I put the review stuff on there. I'll kind of hit a couple more of those little things today. We're going to finish up talking about succession. I will say that the FRQ will have something to do with a keystone species. A keystone species. We've talked about two so far, beaver. We've also talked about the wolf. Okay, and so keystone species, again, it's going to be 10 out of 10 if you try. Okay, but I'm going to start to get to that point where I'm going to show you that I'll give you 10 if you tried, but here's where you would have missed it, right? If I would have been gradient, I'll tell you, this is the one I would have been gradient. I would have taken off 2 points. You would have gotten 8 points total for trying, right? But 2 points. That's how I roll here in this first semester. Probably on chapter 7, I'll start actually grading at least one part, right? So I'll grade like A, but I won't grade like B, C, D, E, right? Y'all with me on this? Does this make sense? Okay, cool. All right. Yesterday we started this movie and then I finished it. By the way, if you watch, and I can't remember who, was anybody absent yesterday? Is everybody here? Yo, question? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Great question.
This week, I know.
Yeah. So no, I think, I hope, let's see, the first FRQ we took was like, was when we were doing the online stuff and it wasn't 1, it was 2, right? Then this second one, I gave you the answers, right? And then we haven't had one since. So let's see how it goes. Okay. And we'll see what happens. We're just finish up the chapter. So once again, Emma, okay, test is on Monday. I will do my best to try to send a remind out on Sunday, like that just says, don't forget, test on Monday. Sure, that'd be great. It's cute. All right. Yesterday we started watching this stupid, but I love it, Untamed Science. And let's see. Hold on a second. Can we watch Sharknado in class? I'm gonna show you this. Oh, by the way, here's what the other thing I was gonna tell you. So yesterday, and if you go back and watch the video, remember we watched that clip from One Strange Rock about the lichens and the reindeer. So now, man, YouTube is so good. So I uploaded my lecture, okay, to YouTube, and within seconds, I got a block, okay, and it says blocked, restricted content, owned by Disney Corporation, One Strange Rock episode, Terraform, like it knew all of it. It freaked me out. So I had to go back through, edit out that section, and then put it back in. So sometimes if you're watching those videos or if you're watching online later, I don't know if Jeremiah is going to join me later here, but there we go. Hey, who else we missing? Oh, there you are. I was like, what's happening? I will tell you, I can literally like see your desk and see you and not make that connection in my brain. You know, I'm like, what's happening? Yes. Oh yeah, that'd be fun. There's one movie I promise you that we'll watch, and you'll love it because it's got some male nudity in it. Okay, all right, yeah. It's one of my. It's like there are 2 movies that I believe that people. I love to show because they're movies that you should watch, but nobody's ever seen in class. One is Lorenzo's Oil. No one ever watches that. Yeah, but like you wouldn't have watched it on your own, right? You know, like no one ever watches. Like no one. I'd say how many people have seen Lorenzo's Oil? 0 people. No, but like before, you know, like before I show it, and then it holds up. You know, it's a great movie. The second one is a movie called Never Cry Wolf. It was the first movie that was ever released from Disney. It was not a box office hit, but it's about this guy who goes to Alaska to prove that the wolves are to prove the wolves are killing all the caribou. So he was hired by the government to go to Alaska to prove that we need to get rid of all these wolves. Let's kill them all because they are hurting the population. It is phenomenal. There's like 4 actors in the entire movie. We will watch it. I'll tell you when the nudity's coming up so you can do one of these things.
I have a ton of paper.
You won't need to for this one. All right. So here we go. You remember yesterday, Suze went and visited Joe Mascaro on Kilauea, and they were looking at all of these different islands. Okay. And so I think we saw like this part right here. So the first island, rock, just lava rock, right? Growing the lichens, breaking down the lichens. Okay, she threw the rock down, broke apart. Okay, now they're starting to get those early colonizers. So let's watch this and then talk.
A bit more than the last flow. So you can see how there's so much more lichen than there was on the previous flow. It's almost like a carpet. And as the lichen grows, it's basically breaking up the surface of the rock and starting the soil formation process, which is really happening in earnest now compared to the previous flow.
The first plants that become established are early colonizers. Early colonizers have other characteristics. They're fast growing, they need lots of light, and they're usually wind dispersed.
That's right. And there's basically 2 types of early colonizers we might see on a flow like this. There's some that have a symbiotic relationship with fungi, and so they're able to fix atmospheric nitrogen directly and use it immediately. And then there are plants that are just able to tolerate really low levels of nitrogen, like ohia.
Okay, on to the next stage. So here we have an even older flow.
So we're actually going to see quite a bit more soil here than we saw in earlier flows. We've really got a lot of moss. So we're really starting to see the ohias come together, and we're getting much closer to a closed forest. We're not quite there yet, but you can see how much taller they are and thicker.
Off to the next flow. So this is what scientists would call mature forest. It's over 300 years old. It might be hard to imagine, but this whole area was once barren lava rock. Let's go check it out.
So we're definitely in a later successional forest now, which means we're dealing mostly with tree species that are not wind dispersed. They typically have big roots, maybe dispersed by animals. They're much slower growing. And of course, they tolerate shade. And as a result of all those features, they tend to need a lot more nutrients over time to grow.
So let's do a quick review of what we've learned about succession. So there are 2 types of succession: primary, where no vegetation was present, and secondary, where the vegetation was present. The vegetation changes that occur during succession are a result of abiotic and biotic factors, which in turn affect the nutrients that are available to plants. During primary succession in our lava field, the lichens become established first, creating soil. Then fast-growing, light-demanding colonizers transform the nutrient composition of the soil. Later on, you have a mature forest with slower-growing, shade-tolerant plants.
But look, succession doesn't just happen in remote places like Hawaii. It's around us every day, and you can study it.
That's right. All you need is a notebook and in a disturbed piece of ground, like a burnt field, or this ground right here. Then plot out your area and then make weekly observations to see how many plants begin to grow in that little plot. As well, don't forget to count how many different kinds of plants will grow in that plot. It's a really simple experiment, and you'll never be able to predict what's going to happen.
But remember, never stop considering how your world is changing. Never stop exploring your world.
That's what she did.
Exploring your world.
It's good stuff. All right, all right.
We got Jonas
Remember
in
this
the
part?
background.
Hold on a
Jonas doing like this back there. That's Jonas there.
Of what we've learned about
This
succession.
part right here, that's Danny. Now watch this.
That's it? Okay.
Got it.
Hey, Mr. B's class. What's up, guys? I'm Danny Washington. I just heard that you watch Untamed Science, and I'm so excited to hear that. Hope you'll check out my new show called Nature Knows Best. I think you'll really, really enjoy it. Keep up the great work, keep learning, and take care of Mr. B. You got it? Enjoy your time and get outside and explore.
That's not even a cameo, baby. You guys know Cameo? Oh, I
Yeah, you
love
told us
Cameo,
how much.
yeah. Yeah, it's, yeah. I paid for it. So this, what, the woman phone or this girl?
She runs the district.
Yeah, sure. No, I ran into Danny at a conference and I stalked her. And like, no joke. I was like, hi, big fan. Can you like sacrifice? She's like, yeah, she's so cool. And she is so tall. And she's, she's very pretty. All right, in real life. Okay, so here's that part. So good. I did ask her, I was like, did you guys have fun like making these? She's like, oh my gosh, it's so fun. Like videos were like, they were put out by this textbook company and oh crap, why is this not loading? And this textbook company gave you these like little things. And so these little DVDs. And anyway, that was kind of like a bonus. So shoot. Sorry. And she said it was just so much fun. They had a blast. It was good times and everybody had a lot of fun. Okay. Now I was going to show you something else real quick. But I can't seem to find it. Give me a second here. That was loaded. So one thing that they said there at the end is like, find just a blank plot of ground, you know, where there's soil, or find somewhere where there is a fire. And so what I want to show you real quick is the fire that we had at the Prairie at the Church of the Brethren. And my goal is that this year we are able to do that again. It should have happened last spring. It did not happen last spring because we did not, of course, we had the coronas. And where is this? Dang it. Okay, here it is. All right, so this looks crazy, right? I'll tell you that when we did this, I bought this can, and I think I have a video of me starting it. It wouldn't start at first. I was like, oh, there it is. Okay, so this is a tool that they use for starting fires. Inside here is a mixture of like kerosene and gas, and it drips, okay? So you turn this thing over and this little thing drips. You light it and it drips. And then you just move along and you drip it. And I was like, and I weren't. They're like, what the heck? And I thought, oh man, this is a bummer. We're not going to be able to light this on fire. Okay. And hopefully you all kind of know that, you know where I'm at, right? Okay. On the corner of like Beckley and 13, that church, the Church of the Brethren. Okay. It's in that front. So it's along 14. Okay. And so that area, you would have all been there if we didn't have the virus, because we would have done some research out there. I told Hannah had a meeting that night, so I took the boys and yeah, it was fun. And actually, Callie was there because she kind of helped watch them, and we had a great turnout that night. And so I finally got lit, and Hannah said, "What time do you think you'll get home?" I said, "Gosh, I don't know, probably like 9:30. You know, like I want to give it a lot of time." We had the fire department there. You know, it was like I have no idea. It was started and finished, completely put out in 45 minutes. It was insane. I could not believe it. Okay. And so afterwards, like this entire area, black, okay, within 3 days, stuff started sprouting back up. It was unbelievable. We planted all of the prairie plants here. So we planted mostly 3 types of grasses. And then added a 4th. And then we chose a specific number of 4 because those are wildflowers. For 5 years, we saw most of the things we planted. All the grasses were there, but a few flowers didn't pop up. After we burned this thing, we saw species, that we didn't plant, which was crazy, and species that we planted but had not seen yet. Okay, that fire regenerates, okay, and allows some of those species to really germinate and go crazy. So I'm excited to burn it again to see what happens. We've been doing a study on looking at a creature called plantain. You know what plantain is? Here's what it looks like. Yeah, not that plantain. Weed. Okay, here's what it looks. You go in your, if you go in your you can eat this one. I don't know. I've never eaten this one. If you go into your yard, I guarantee. No, stupid. Okay, you 100% will see this. Okay, there's no doubt about it. Okay, it is in everybody's yard. Okay, unless you spray pretty heavily, broadly, weed killer. Okay, but there it is. They have these kind of like this. You've seen this, right? Okay, there it is. We looked at what happened to the plantain afterwards, and it's completely gone in some sections. It's a great stinking question. Let's go here. No, native to Europe and Central Asia. Is it invasive? Nobody's out there like, you gotta stop this. But it's a bummer. It's a weed, you know. Nobody likes it. Now look at this. Stop cutting it and start eating it.
I told you.
I thought you were lying to me. Let's watch this. How do you know this?
I have a book.
Huh? What book?
Oh, Jimmy Maria.
Yes.
Okay. It's like a survival book.
Yes.
I'm in the mood for a nice green leafy vegetable garden salad. So I've come out to our garden where I'm going to take some lettuce and I'm going to get some of our kale, both cold hardy, cold weather vegetables that we planted in March. It's already ready to harvest. But before I get either of these, I'm going to get my favorite green leafy vegetable, and it doesn't grow in my garden. It grows in my driveway, and it probably grows in yours too. So my favorite green leafy vegetable doesn't grow in my garden. It grows in my driveway, and it probably grows in yours. It's called plantain, pronounced and spelled just the same.
That's his driveway?
It's the banana-looking fruit that comes from Latin American countries, Cuba, Florida. But it's a green leafy vegetable that is high in vitamins A, C, and K, and it's very edible. And it's very delicious.
Latin American countries, Cuba, Florida.
Delicious. It tastes like slightly overripened lettuce. So it has more of a,
Here's literally what I thought was gonna happen when he ate that. Like I thought for a second he was going to do this. Hold on a second. Trust me on this one. Okay, let's compare real quick. These two scenes. Okay, here we go. So here's what I thought. He's eating the food, right? Here we go with this guy.
and it's very delicious. It is high in vitamins A, C, and K, and it's very edible. And it's very delicious.
I wish it would have ended up like this. Let's finish up our notes, kids. Enough of that. Okay. No, Kiki does the sloppy swish. All right. So exposed rocks all the way to the climax. That's what we're doing in this classroom. That's our succession. Okay, but when we want to go to secondary succession, a couple things have happened. We've either cut it down for farming, we burned it down. Okay, maybe a hurricane came in, stuff started growing up. The key to primary succession, folks, is the exposed rock, right? Those pioneer species. Okay, when we get the fire and farming, you're not going all the way down and restarting over, right? Okay, if I have a fire, okay, it's not gonna take all the soil away, and all of a sudden I see the bare bedrock like we have at the Everglades at the Hole in the Donut. That would be primary succession. They took away all the dirt. They planted nothing. That was exposed bare rock. That's primary succession. Secondary succession, the soil's there. Okay, not all the trees necessarily die. Okay, but the idea is that things change over time. One thing that I wish I would have done, and I did not do this, and this is one of those things in hindsight. Do you guys know where? Do you know where Allie Sykes' grandparents live? Does anybody know? You actually do? Okay, they're on 114. Okay, so Allie Sykes. So if I'm like driving to Fort Wayne, okay, here's Allie Sykes' well, way past the fire station. Yeah. So it's almost by the golf course. Yeah. And then right here's the Brandenburg's house, like Leah Brandenburg's house, right? And then right here in between, there used to be a pond. Okay. And over time, I wish I would have taken a picture every single year. That pond has gone away, and what has come in are cottonwood trees. Okay. So typically, even ponds go through succession, okay? Small ones, they could fill up and change from water to land, okay? So this is aquatic succession. And eventually it just creeps in over time, okay? It's gone, and that lake basin is filled, okay? I mean, it was big. You could canoe in that thing. Like there was a canoe, they had a pier, okay? When I first moved here in 1994, that's what that looked like. Okay, if we go back to primary succession, what do you think our forest in the park is? Do you think that's a primary succession or a secondary succession? It's secondary, right? The trees are small. We've got a few big trees. Those trees have started to grow after the cows left, right? Okay, all right. Just we've already kind of talked about that. In island biogeography, if you remember, We watched a video for e-learning about island biogeography when the researchers bug bombed those hammocks to see what was coming back, right? Okay, so this idea of island biogeography explains that habitat size and distance determine species richness. Okay, latitude, time, habitat size will also affect that. And so if you look at the island area, okay, the number of bird species low, okay, as we increase size, the species also increase. And do you remember what was the first thing to come back on that island?
Oh.
Oh, nice. Justice said I have something in my teeth. Do I really have something in my teeth? Let me know. All right. And that's the last line. Okay. Let's look real quickly at, thanks for enjoying my, or thanks for letting me go off today. Here's our stuff. Oh, that's Monkiki. That's a pretty good skit, by the way. Here we go. Apes. Here's our stuff. If you have questions, let me know. I don't know really what else to tell you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the point of you burning that, is that just so like primary succession can start over? Like, it's, do you do it because the plants are dead and you burn it into the, like, I just don't know the point.
Yeah. Great question. So the point of burning the prairie is that prairie plants over thousands of years have adapted to fire. They need fire to be healthy. Okay. And how do you think fires happen like in normal prairies? Any guesses? Super dry, yeah, but how do they start? Lightning. Okay, and over years they just adapted to that. And so if you have a prairie like that and you're not burning it every 3 to 5 years, it's not going to be as healthy. Man, yeah, the soil, I mean, it is so cool. Like my prof at Mary Lee said he planted a goldenrod in a prairie in an oak woodland, or near an oak woodland, and he waited 10 years before this goldenrod, like he ever saw it. And that was after, like, I think they had burned maybe 3 times at that point. So there's a plant called bee balm. That's kind of the common name. And I had not seen it for a really long time. And then, well, look, you got to see this thing. We were out there collecting data, and boom, it like is giant. It's the biggest, healthiest bee balm that I've ever seen in my entire life. And the crazy thing is we did not plant that. So I don't know how it got there, which is really cool. So let me see if I can go. Here's my page. Let's go to my media. I think I can find this quickly because I remember tweeting this picture. Oh yeah, look at this thing. Look how massive that plant is. And it's unbelievably beautiful. And it's just really, really stinking pretty. And that was, well, you know those guys. Okay, that was just, that was so, 2 summers ago, not last summer, the summer before. You have a lot of that? Cool. It's really, really a cool plant. Also, I took this picture the other day. I thought this was cool. Oh, there's the start of the year. Look at this. You guys, look at this. I love this picture. Okay. No, I had a bunch of people comment on it, but you see who that is mopping the floor. Here, I'll see if I can zoom in. Yeah, it's Lippy. I can't make it any
Probably
bigger.
because Dave doesn't do anything.
No, stop. Okay, but yeah. That's pretty cool when your principal can mop the floors, you know. All right. Anyway, so if you're studying some stuff this weekend and you can't, you need some help, text me. That's Kathleen in Everglades. This guy's he used to be a math teacher, Adam Pyle. He's a good dude. This girl's got a baby now, I think. This girl's getting married. This would have been, well, my hair's real short. Gosh, I can't remember. Probably like 8 years, maybe 9, maybe 10.
Yeah, I asked Jayla the other day about.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah.
What'd she say?
Said not to worry about it because she didn't even remember it until I